Hello and welcome to Sobrix. I'm Adam and this is Sobrix. This is my channel for reviewing LEGO sets and building them and other LEGO related stuff. In this video, I'm going to be taking another and potentially final look at the LEGO Creator 3-in-1 Future Flyers set. This is set number 31034. It has 237 pieces and I paid $16 for this set. This set is from 2015. Retailed for $25 back in the day. A current market price for a sealed copy of this is very high, north of $50, maybe even up to $90 or more in a sealed version. I got this used. It was complete, and I got it at kind of a charity thrift store or Lego event. And thankfully all the pieces were in there. And I've already done videos looking at the first two models. So the first one is this kind of robot here, and I've done a video then for the second one, which is this kind of futuristic jet looking model, which means that in this video I'm going to be sharing my thoughts on the third model, this last alternate model, which seems to be this car of some sort, kind of a futuristic looking vehicle. And so I'm going to be disassembling this and then putting this together while I build. I'll speed the video up and then I'll slow it back down to review the alternate model for this set. So until then, enjoy. Okay, so while we look at the disassembly for the first alternate model, this Future Flyers jet, and then while we look at the build for the other alternate model, this Future Flyers sports car, I just wanted to say thanks for watching and then remind you, if you like the video, click the thumbs up. If you like my other videos, click the subscribe button. That helps me a lot. We're on the road to 1,000 subscribers, so I appreciate it. We start off here building, and we use the wing kind of angled plates there to build kind of the basis of this. And just because of the nature of the type of pieces that are in this set, we actually have to do some kind of interesting things or kind of out of the box techniques and piece usages to really get everything down here. And then at the end, I feel like the final shape is maybe a little bit basic, all of that considered, but the build itself was pretty enjoyable to me. And there are some elements of the finished model that I think are really quite good and look pretty cool. It's just not perfect, but I did enjoy it potentially more than the other ones. So that's really great. And now on to my review for this set. Okay, so here is this second or last or third model, second alternate build, last model for this LEGO Creator 3-in-1 Future Flyers. This is kind of the futuristic sports car. This is pretty cool. So if you didn't see my first couple videos about the other models in this set, then maybe you didn't know this. When I opened this set, I was recording. The box was not sealed, but it was taped up, and I didn't know what the condition was or what pieces were in there. And this was essentially built in the box, and then it had the rest of these thrown in the box loose, if I remember correctly. And as well as it had a couple of just extra pieces that aren't in this set. And so this looked neat, and I took it apart to build the main model, and I tried to do it in a way that wouldn't like spoil any of the building techniques or anything like that. And I think for the most part at this point of recording this, I was successful. I didn't know exactly how this came together. There's only really one thing that I remember specifically, but this is really, really cool. So we'll get into it. No minifigures. We do have, the first thing I want to make note of is the leftover pieces here. So these are pieces used in the main model, not in this futuristic car alternate model. Over here is the extra pieces you get just generally with a set. So that's that. There's not a ton of exclusions, I would say. This is only used in the main model. The majority of these are, these are only used in the main model. A lot of these are only used in the main model. All the kind of mech finger pieces are only used in the main model. So that's kind of interesting. There's not like so much overlap. I also think it's crazy and also interesting that the rubber tires are only used in this model. They're not used in the robot or the jet there. So it's kind of a weird combination of pieces to make these models out of, but I think it works pretty well. It's not that big of a concern that they didn't, make everything, because everything thematically feels similar. So, a futuristic robot flying, or future flyer thing. Future flyer applies to the jet, and this is a future flyer, but it's maybe earthbound, but it is kind of a neat kind of sci-fi aesthetic to it here, which is really, really cool. So I don't think there's anything else really that I need to make note of over there. This one does use more pieces than the plain alternate build, or the jet, that one. So this one uses more pieces, and it's pretty substantial, I would say. So that's pretty cool. When you start building this, you actually use these wing pieces, or these angled plates, as kind of the main body that we then build up upon. And in order to make that work, we do have to do some kind of inventive things. And I actually think it comes together to kind of give this a relatively unique shape, even though it might not look it. I think it has a tendency to maybe look a little square here, or rectangular rather, and it's not. It does have some lines going through it, but it also is pretty straight. So that's kind of weird. And building up on top of this, it's almost all studs on top for the kind of chassis area there, but I really liked how it came together. It used a bunch of the 2x2 round plates. You can kind of see a couple peeking out under that ball joint there, as well as back here. That's a nice little detail. It also helped for some of the structural integrity, but I think they were used to good effect. I really like how these round tiles are kind of there as a little bit of a detail, but then they get covered up, which is good. There is some studs on the side building, or kind of some sub-assembly stuff. So when it comes to the rear bumper with the lights on the back, as well as the front bumper, those are using brackets to attach. But then the rest of this stuff is all kind of studs on top, but we have brick built fenders all the way around, or wheel wells there. I think the kind of back portion is maybe the most interesting to me, just because of these different layers of the pieces overlapping, but also looking at the seat backs or whatever, you can kind of see some of the tile that is popping out on the other side, inside there, which is cool. We also use those hinge joint pieces in there, which is nice, as well as these modified plates with the bar. We have the big ball joint in there. There's not a ton of just basic bricks in this set, and so most of them have something else going on. That one's used there. I think it's kind of nice. I don't know if it really works as a gear shift, or something like that, but that's kind of cool. We do have what looks to be room for potentially a minifigure. I mean, I don't think it's really minifigure scale, but I also don't think that looks crazy. It doesn't look outrageous. It looks a little bit silly. It kind of reminds me of maybe a friend's sports car I looked at that was in a $10 box, but we can put a minifigure in there. You could put 2 in there. This is 8 wide for the most part, out to 10 wide, with the wheels extending a little bit out, this extending a little bit out to the side, these kind of areas down here. But this is 8 wide, which is the current Speed Champions, which is interesting. This feels a little bit shorter, but it's got some good weight, some good heft. It's economical in the sense that it's not super piece dense, more so than maybe some of the other ones, but you can see we do have some gap down here in some areas where that's not the case, especially up around the front axle there. I liked that it used both of these pieces. The whole hood comes together really well. So I like the stuff on the back here. I like the stuff on the front. I think the shape is really, really nice. So this is kind of a drop top or a convertible. I think these slopes are used to good effect to kind of almost make it feel like that's maybe something that can come forward to, meet up with the windshield there. But, and maybe that's folded back or receded there, but it also kind of looks like some vehicles that have kind of the headrests or whatever back there. which is cool. There's not like engine details in here or anything like that, unless, you know, some of these things are meant to be something specific. We do have the spoiler on the back. It's a little bit basic. It is on the ratchet joint pieces, so you can bring it down to flat. I think that looks fine flat, maybe even better. I don't love it up at an angle. It's just okay. I think the back bumper here is a little uninspired, pretty square, pretty rectangular, so there's not a lot of curves here. I think the front does a better job using these slopes. I like the use of the orange studs in here. There's actually a bunch of the orange studs used in the internals where they're not seen, and you can kind of see one there in the fender, and they're used kind of throughout here to help bring this together. I think the one thing that I remembered from when I was disassembling this from when I pulled it out of the box is that it uses one of these ball joints up at the front, and it's a really cool look. It's like, I don't think, you know, they would need to do that, and I don't know if a designer would choose to do that if they had other parts available. We do have the modified plates with the bar coming off of it below that, and then we add that onto the front bumper, and I just think that's a really unique look. A little bit of asymmetry in there. It could be like, you know, a logo or something, or it could be some other thing that kind of adds to this sort of futuristic sports car thing here. And so it's a really simple technique. I mean, you can attach those pieces together with the ball joint and just stud them down and kind of use them like the equivalent of a 2x6, you know, the 2x2 over here, 2x2 over here, and this kind of takes up there, but it adds like another level of detailing, which is nice. It's almost like greebling, and then seeing the stuff like behind that, combining it with the venting here, feels pretty cool. So I really like how this is done. These slopes do round it out a little bit. This looks a little off to me because it's just so flat there. And the headlights are fine, but they don't do the best to kind of alleviate some of the blockiness of this. And then at the end, you add the wheels, which you do actually use the rubber wheels for once, the one model out of this. And that's kind of everything. There's a few other things that I thought were like kind of unique of just using the parts that are available to you. So if I take this off, and this would come off too. We can see on the rear here, we have like these ratchet pieces that gets covered up by the bumper. There's these 1x1 plates with the clip. Those get covered up by the bumper. These pieces aren't like used in a certain way. So, they stick out a little bit, which is a little extra detail, but there's, you know, making use of pieces that have other parts to them, whether it's a bar coming off of it or just like modified plates and modified tiles in this build, even if they do get covered up, I think is nice. You kind of use what you have to. There's some more of that, I guess, a little bit back here, but I think of that kind of as detail. But even like up at the front, we have these 1x1 gray or light bluish gray bricks. They're actually underneath these slope pieces that have the clip on them. That's on either side. So we make use of some good parts. There are some pieces like the ones with the double clip here or just the vertical clip might be difficult to use. This might be difficult to use because this doesn't have the same exact like height, or, you know, it's not the same exact thing all throughout. The ball joint comes down a little bit lower than the plate does. Same for something like this, where this it comes down lower, so you can't like use these everywhere. I don't know if there's, you know, a great way to use something like this. I actually think these are an interesting piece to try to use as like a greebling thing or as like a detail, and maybe there's a way for that to be in here, but it's not as is. And I also maybe would have liked to have seen some more of these, and there are places you could add it in there. You know, you could add this in there as some other kind of detail, either, you know, some divider in the middle, or maybe that's just part of the dash or part of everything else. You could potentially add some of these mech finger pieces to these pieces back here, to maybe suggest even, oh, can I get that in? Yeah, maybe that's like exhaust or something, or some other thing for the spoiler. I don't really know. Maybe this is so futuristic that they're not using um, petrol or whatever anymore. They're using electricity or some other kind of thing. But there are potentially places that these could have been added for extra detail. I don't know if this is a particularly good use of them. It's just one of the uses of them, which is fine. And I'm for some reason having a lot of trouble pulling these pieces off. Um, there we go. And I think that's kind of everything for this. It feels very sturdy. I'm not too worried about anything popping off of here except for maybe like the mirror areas there. Those are just clipped on. They look all right. I don't know if they should be angled or if they should be just up like that. I might like it a bit angled, and then we might even be a little bit wider than 10 studs, even considering the tires and this angle here, which is fine. I think this is a super solid build. This also is a build that I think is strong enough to stand on its own. However, if this was its own set, I don't think some of the piece usages, the choices here, some of the building techniques, I don't think would have been used. They probably could design a car that has a similar look to this, and make it I don't know how to say in a better way, but in another way that maybe is more in line with like an official Lego design. This is an official Lego design. It had some it felt to me a little bit like a mock maker's design, or like a rebrickable thing, which I have considered maybe doing some other rebrickable models that use the pieces from this set. I have to see if any of them really interest me, but this has some parts of it that reminded me of those kind of builds, because they're just kind of a little more adventurous in how they use pieces. And this one, in this case, is just an actual official Lego model, and it doesn't feel like it's flimsy or anything like that. So it's a super solid car set. I think it looks really great, which is nice. I don't know. Yeah, I might like it more than the plane. I'm actually not sure. I think all three of these are really quite good. This one's was good, it had a good amount of posability and articulation. It did have some issues, but I thought it was relatively good. I just think I have so many other like mech sets from different sizes and different themes and stuff, that this was like a little bit so to me. I thought the jet was pretty cool, and a good toy, and I like building Lego planes and Lego jets and stuff like that, and I love building Lego cars and Lego vehicles, and so this one fits in there too. So just based off of like the what the concept is for each of these models, the main one might be my least favorite, just on a concept level, even though it's maybe more unique than just a plane or a car. There was something about these that I was really drawn to. So I think this could stand on its own. I don't know if it was on its own. This might be a $15 thing. It feels bigger than some city cars, and maybe closer to, there was a Creator 3-in-1 car set that was similar to the vintage motorcycle set, and or similar colors at least, and I think that one was called like the street car or street race car or something like that. I think that was a fair amount bigger than this. That was a $20 set, I believe. So this is probably in the $15 range for a vehicle here. So it's kind of interesting. I do think it's really strong, and I like the design. There might be other ways to do it, but this was very fun to build overall. So that's pretty nice, and I think that's pretty much all I wanted to talk about. So I already mentioned all the leftover pieces here that were used in the main model but not in this alternate model. We have the extra pieces over here, and I maybe lost one. There we go. Those are the extra pieces that they add in a bag because of how they put the pieces together in their bags at the Lego factory. So we get those extras. Good to get those. And this set is 237 pieces. I paid $16 for it. I got it used. and its sealed copy goes for a lot more than that. For a used copy that's about market price, it retailed for $25 back in 2015. So $16 feels great to me. You know, this might even be a $15 model, and the plain might be a $10 or $15 model or somewhere in between there, and the main one might be a $20 model or more, or you know, and it retailed for $25, you know, several years ago. So I'm wondering if maybe I would have felt that this was a little bit overpriced. In 2024, when it's a retired set, you know, I feel like I got a great deal. I probably would have bought this for 25, you know, considering that like Speed Champions are now $27. They, I think, are more innovative than this, better looking, more interesting to build. They also have the licensing partners and everything like that, but I guess 25 is not out of the realm of possibility. And I do take into consideration that I got 3 distinct builds using the same pieces. I got to spend a lot of time with this set, and that is all that all holds value, all carries value when I'm kind of evaluating this. And potentially there's even more, because there's maybe other people that have designed things made out of the pieces in this set that I could also enjoy. So I feel like I got a fair deal. You know, $16 feels great. If I were to try to buy this set new in a sealed box, I don't think it's worth $90. I don't think it's worth even $50. So I don't know why the price is the way it is. Maybe it's just hard to find and there's a limited supply of still sealed boxes. I'm not really sure. $16 felt totally fine to me. Very happy that all the pieces were in here. It would have been a big bummer if you know, I paid $16 and it was like 80% complete. I mean, 80% is not terrible, but if it would have just been like without all of these pieces and just this in the box, such that I wouldn't be able to build either of the other models without buying the extra pieces, that would have been really disappointing, and then my effective cost would have gone up considerably. So I'm grateful that even though I bought this used as is, which is the nature of the kind of event that I was at you know, a charity thrift store type place, it worked out for me in this case. Actually, there was a Chima set I looked at, Aris's Eagle Interceptor, that I bought in the same kind of deal. It was like in a box that was retaped up. It was used. I wasn't allowed to open the box. I just had to buy it as is. And for that one, I did have to order some extra pieces, including some ones that were kind of expensive, which were like minifigure pieces that weren't in there. So this one, I didn't have to encounter that at all. So it feels pretty good. I feel like I got a fine deal. And overall, I had a good time looking at the models in this set. So that's really good. And I think all of them are very strong. This one is, and the value seems great to me overall, at least what I paid for it. So I like it. I had a ton of fun building it, talking about it, all of that good stuff. So another win for me. But please, if someone knows why this is so expensive, leave a comment and explain it to me, because I have not been able to figure it out yet. I'm looking at the like price data throughout the years, or when it has spiked and not, and the available copies and all this other stuff, and it's just very confusing to me. But either way, happy to have it, and I think that's it. So great. If you like this video, please click the thumbs up and give it a like. If you like my other videos, click the subscribe button down below so you can stay up to date on all the LEGO videos I'll be doing here in the future, including more LEGO Creator 3-in-1s, maybe some mock builds from designers and instructions off of Rebrickable for this set and other sets, but then tons of other LEGO sets from all different themes, all different shapes, size, price point, piece count, big sets, small sets, old sets, new sets, used sets, just tons of different stuff. So subscribe so you don't miss any of my upcoming LEGO videos. We're on the road to 1,000 subscribers as of recording this. We aren't there yet, but we're getting very close, and I'm really, really happy and trying to plan, you know, kind of a giveaway to show some love back. But I just appreciate it. If you're not subscribed, maybe consider doing it. It means a lot to me, and it counts to me. So thank you very much. And then if you wanted to support this channel in a different way, you could do that on YouTube with membership, supers, and thanks, and the Patreon. It's in the video description on my channel page, patreon.com/sobricks. That's if anybody ever wanted to give me money or anything, which is not necessary, but it is helpful and would be appreciated, but only if they're able to and everything else. So it's not necessary, but if you're interested, maybe consider checking it out. It does help, and I do appreciate it, but I appreciate anybody who watches, likes, comments, subscribes, or any of that other stuff. It just means a lot to me. So thank you very much, and with all that said, until next time, thanks. Bye.